We interrupt your regularly scheduled story of sex, kink, gender, or body image to tell you about some friends in the podcasting world. The Double Teamed podcast, hosted by twins Cami and Niki, is on a mission to bring awareness to non-monogamy, kink, and sexuality, and to help make these taboo subjects more understood and accepted by our younger generations. Cami and Niki love to get honest and vulnerable with their listeners, discussing their experiences in open relationships, dating, dominance and submission, and sex parties. Find them anywhere you listen to podcasts and across your favorite social media platforms. Here's Cami and Niki.
Welcome back, Double Teamed fam. How are we doing today? I don't know.
Pepa y agua para seca, todo el mundo pastilla en la discoteca. Okay, that's enough. Damn, that got me really hyped.
I know. I don't know why all of a sudden I was like, you know that one girl that does the TikToks where she's like, how white people songs start at the club, and it's like, and it's like a Taylor
like a remix
Swift
of like,
song,
yeah, or Rihanna.
Ooh, look what you made me do. And then it like goes sort of like
do.
And it's so chaotic, but like she has a point. She has a point. Anyways, guys, how are we doing? Cheers to Thursday.
We're recording this on a
Saturn
Tuesday.
has
entered Pisces, guys. So if you have Saturn in Aquarius, your Saturn return is over.
But if you have Saturn in Pisces,
Buckle up.
yes, Godspeed. May the fourth be with you. Whatever you need.
It's a force.
Whatever. Did I say may the
You
fourth?
said, yeah, you said me the force.
Okay. Sorry, may the force be with you. But please take care of yourself, learn the lessons, and then thank Daddy Saturn at the end.
So Saturn in Pisces would be anyone born between like 1994 to 1996. So if you fall in that demographic, my best advice, surrender.
Yeah.
Whatever Daddy Saturn throws at you for these next like 2-3 years, surrender.
Surrender.
I gotta thank Saturn for all the lessons during my Saturn return. My Saturn return delivered a divorce, a dead dog.
Rest in peace, Tammy. Why would you say that?
They both started with D. I don't know. I miss my dog. I was actually I was hugging his ashes yesterday and letting him know how much I missed him. It also delivered the podcast, and kind of like a realization of what I'm really passionate about. I moved, like I sold my house and my Saturn return brought a lot of change, but like a lot of necessary change. Like that's kind of what it does. Like if you're not on the right path, Saturn is going to come in and be like, let's get you on the right path. And let's make sure you learn all the lessons necessary for you to move forward. But anyways, this is not an astrology podcast. However, there is our astro update.
Yeah, I will say for my Saturn return, I mean, I moved 3 states, completely changed my life, left my fiance. I also lost a dog, though I'll say it much more eloquently than Niki did.
Wait, hold on. We went through the same things, but differently.
Exactly. And then I went through a pretty
Also, I kind of like
good and bad relationship that caused me to have a lot of change and do a lot of growth in the past 2 years.
We also both kind of like had spiritual awakenings. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, overall, like I'm very pleased with my Saturn
thankful,
return.
yeah,
very
absolutely.
thankful.
It definitely
I feel like I'm on the right path.
Yeah, it put me on the right path for sure. It was
So-
like, this isn't working anymore, so you're moving.
I journaled yesterday thanking Saturn for all the lessons because I feel like they were really good lessons.
I felt so luxe yesterday. I put my robe on. I put a face mask on. I turned on Design Miami, masturbated a little bit, and then went back to watching the show.
You masturbated?
I did.
Wow. I was going to say, I feel more aligned and more my authentic self now that my Saturn return has ended.
I do too.
So for our Astro girlies, if you know.
Or Astro daddies.
Or Astro daddies, if you know about the Saturn return, you know. So yeah, if you were born 1994 to 1996, you're up. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine.
Yes. In other news, what else do we have to report?
I miss Kink.
Yes. We can jump right to that. That's gonna be fine. I was gonna say.
Wait, what was your news?
No, we can talk about the Q&A we did later, and when we do listener questions too. Okay.
So
I miss Kink too.
We both miss Kink. And I mean, I was like looking through our episodes because I'm like, oh my God, have we not talked about Kink? We have, because like I feel like we still get elements of Kink, like when we go to sex parties and we do like some, you know, light impact play, or when we go, I guess maybe, would that be it?
That's it, yeah.
I guess that's, yeah, I guess
That's usually when we get our impact sessions out, is at sex parties.
But like, I miss the power exchange. For me personally, like, I think the reason why, you know, I haven't really kind of like been focusing on it when my doms and I decided to take a break, and then I think it kind of just transitioned to a like, now we're just friends situation. The loss of that relationship was, I don't think it hit me until later, but it was kind of substantial for me, or at least for my kink journey, just because like those were two people that like introduced me to a lot of different things in kink. You know, they were the first people that I tried knife play with. They were the first people that I did shibari suspensions with. They were the first people that I did, you know, electro play and like all these things with. And so, and power exchanges in a more formal way and in a public way. I remember, you know, my male dom, there were a few times when he did performances at Bar Sinister here in Los Angeles, and I would kind of be like his submissive assistant alongside my female dominant. So that was the first time that I'd ever like subbed in front of other people. You know, sometimes it was like a room of like 100 to 200 people. So I had a lot of kink first with them, and it was like very exciting and very explorative, like so fulfilling, everything that you want kink to be. So I think the ending of that relationship has like been heavy for me in regards to like my kink journey, just because I had a lot of trust with them. They were both professional dominants, like they knew what the fuck they were doing, you know, and they taught me a lot and really opened my eyes to like a lot of different things that I want to continue to explore in kink. And so ever since that relationship ended, I haven't really looked elsewhere, because in a way it's kind of hard to believe that like anyone else will live up to the doms that they were.
That's true. Wait, I have a question, because you brought up being a sub in public, and I want to know something. This is a good topic, a good offhand topic while we're at it.
Sure.
What did you like being a submissive in and withholding and holding that power exchange in public?
I did. I will say it's very exhibitionist, which I actually enjoyed being an exhibitionist in a submissive way more than I do in like a sexual way, if that makes sense. Like if people are watching me have sex at a sex party, like my exhibitionist is not like turned on, if that makes sense. However, if I am submitting in a group, or even like being a dominant, because I've had that experience before as well, I am more of an exhibitionist in that headspace.
Okay, I think I would agree with you, because like, for example, when that one time I performed at a sex party where I had a female dom, and then I had a male sub, I liked it purely for the exhibitionist aspect of it. Like people watching me get flogged or watching me dominate my sub.
Same whenever we performed Sanctum together, when we got
exactly
flogged. Yeah.
And then, but for example, one time at a sex party, I was being tied up by a male dom, and he was kind of, you know, enacting power exchange, and it was like a very and then I remember someone like walked up, because he was tying me up in shibari and we were doing the power exchange thing, and then someone walked up and was asking him like a few questions and stuff, like, and then regarding me, and that part I was like, ooh, I don't know if I like this as much, because it wasn't like for a show. It was like a moment we were having, and then someone came and entered. But then, like, for example, the last sex party where we performed, and then afterwards where I was being tied up by the female dom in the spider web shibari display, like, it was really hard for me I was like fighting going into subspace. I could feel myself going into subspace, but I was like fighting it because I didn't want to go into it in front of people.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'd also never been in a power exchange with a female before, so that was a little interesting for me. I still liked it,
But I don't think it was really a power exchange. I think it was more of topping. It sounds to
That
me
is true.
It sounds to me like you like bottoming you like bottoming in public, but you don't like submitting in public.
Correct. I would say that. And then I was having a discussion with one of my friends from New York. He's actually a listener. If he's listening to the pod today, hi. Anyways, he was telling me how he went to an event in New York where he loves being a submissive. Mm-hmm. And that was his first time submitting in public because it was at an event. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I didn't like it that much. And I was like, I totally understand. Because...
See, I liked it.
For me, I feel like I need to explore it more. Because, like, for example, when I was... the sub to the female dom, and then I had but I was dominant to the male sub, like that was totally for performance. So it wasn't like a true power exchange. So I think you're right. Maybe I am more just like I like bottoming and topping in public, but for like true power exchange, I prefer that to be in a private, intimate session.
Which I think is fair, because like for a lot of people, the power exchange is a very intimate experience.
Exactly. And that's what I was discussing with my friend is like, yeah, it is an intimate experience. So if you don't like being submissive in public, like I totally get it.
See, for me, like the times that I was submissive in a public setting, I think it was always with my male dominant. And basically we'd call it like full protocol where, and so we had kind of our own, what do you want to call it? We had our own boundaries, rules, like outline, etc. for full, or well, I don't know if it was full protocol. It was like maybe like
75% protocol.
It was like partial protocol. Like they had terms for it, but now I can't remember. I have to go back and look through our text thread, like, because there's full protocol, but then there's kind of like a couple levels before that. So it was, we'll just say it was like protocol, where it's kind of like a step above submission, maybe in the sense that like it's much more strict. And in this situation, it was like public, but I felt very comfortable with him, and like I wanted to be a good submissive to him, so I would do it for that regard. And like my focus was like making him look good as a dominant and being a good submissive to him in a public setting. So that was always my main focus, so I didn't mind it. However, I could see that like it really depends on like the dynamic, the person, crowd, the public setting, etc. And also, kind of like the relationship with that dominant, because like, say for example, like you do a power exchange with someone that you're relatively new to, and you haven't discussed what happens when someone comes up and they ask, something like if they want to do something to you, which I've seen that happen before. It's like you and your dominant need to discuss that beforehand. So, like, yeah, because, he's hating
doing power exchange with someone you just met at an event is very difficult.
It's very difficult to do, but also like, how like they can't hand the keys to someone else if y'all haven't discussed that already. Yeah. So there's a lot of different facets to that. But yeah. But anyways, they gave me a lot of experience as a submissive, and I hope I made them proud, and I also hope that I can continue to like grow as both a submissive and a dominant. But I haven't put a lot of focus on it in a long time, because I was kind of like allowing myself to mourn that relationship a little bit, and also like kind of sitting with like the feeling, like I said earlier, just I'm not really sure if I'm ready to like trust anyone with the dynamic of a power exchange. It's so one of my partners expressed that he wants to explore more BDSM. Actually is Jordan. We did an episode, and in the episode he talked about wanting to do it more so. And so like we've had some discussions around it, and maybe about how to be more intentional around exploring BDSM. But one of my other friends with benefits, surprisingly, even though he has zero experience with power exchanges.
Wait, who? Really? Oh, him.
Oh, him.
I love that one of our listeners said that, because I did on that when I was questioning everyone about merch. Because I didn't realize that like we said that a lot until
he mentioned
until someone was like,
wait, who? Oh, him.
I laughed so hard.
Anyways, so we've never really explored power exchanges or really like a lot of BDSM, but primal play comes very natural to us. And I did ask him one time if he would be willing to tie me up and restrain me and then like bite the shit out of me.
I could see
444.
I could see y'all doing that for sure.
So, and when I asked him if he would do that, he said he would be down, and it was something that, like, he does the biting because he knows I like it. According to him, it doesn't really do anything for him, but he enjoys that. I enjoy it, which I found that surprising, to be honest. He's a little bit of a selfish lover. But anyways, so I asked that a while back, and we just haven't really explored it yet. So I'm going to revisit that with him and see if he'd be interested in trying it out.
I would say,
because even though I was just going to say, like, I trust him, you know, like we've like, I trust him to, if I do the power exchange that like, and I give him clear instructions beforehand about how to go about this, that he would deliver.
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll see.
I mean, I'm just guessing. But I was going to say for my journey in kink, I mean, I had a daddy for a while there, and we were exploring kink while also exploring a relationship. And I've talked about this many times, but you know, he was very much a partner that I was very on and off with. And we de-escalated to not having that dynamic anymore. However, we still, I don't know, in time, like throughout the 2 years that we were on and off, like we still kept my pet name, which was LPM. You know, and I still called him daddy from time to time, and we would still explore slight power exchange. And through my journey in kind of trying to heal past things that I need to talk about, and, you know, a lot of the reasons why I went into therapy, through all of that, like, I'm not saying I, like, lost interest in power exchange kink, because I definitely didn't. But it definitely became harder to explore when I needed to get better at enforcing my boundaries and learning how to say no and speak up for what I want before, you know, I could continue a power exchange with someone.
I think that's fair.
So I think I've been, you know, deconstructing a lot of my people-pleasing characteristics that I used to have. So am I ready to have another daddy? Not necessarily.
See, I don't know that I'm ready to have another dom either.
I feel like, if I'm being honest, I still have a little bit more healing to do. So when it comes to power exchange,
well, I think it's because you have to approach power exchange from such a like safe space that like you need to feel ready to, you need to feel like that safety within yourself to like feel ready and kind of maybe a little bit of security within yourself to be able to like hand over the keys to someone.
Yeah, and I don't know why it made me cry, but like just thinking like, if I went into my subspace again and I thought about my old pet name, I feel like I would cry.
Yeah.
That made me teary-eyed.
Oh, it's okay.
Sorry.
It's fine. I mean, I know for me, like, I've definitely had some instances where, like, I think about some of the things that my doms and I used to do, and, like, it made me very emotional to think that, like, you know, especially since we have kind of, like, let our relationship pass, I guess, you know, that I may not necessarily get to experience those things again. I remember not long ago, I was having a threesome, and I introduced the girl to her armpits. So,
like, sorry, I'm, like, trying to, like, not get my makeup. Sorry.
You're fine. It looks great.
Thanks.
Pat it a little bit. Yeah, they're all good. All good. Anyways, I was having a threesome recently with a couple, and I introduced the girl to her armpits. So we were like, just kind of like starting off with a little bit of foreplay or whatever. And I asked her, I'm like, have you ever had anyone lick your armpits? And she was like, no, I haven't. And I was like, may I? And she was like, sure. But, it's kind of like at your, play at your own risk. Cause, like people have deodorant there. Maybe like, they've got a little bit of like, sweat, whatever. To me, that doesn't really bother me. And this is someone that I like and whatnot. So I just like went for it. And I started licking her armpits. And afterwards she was like, okay, I can see why someone might like that. But I remember like when I had asked her about that, if she wanted to explore it, it reminded me of the time that it like took me right back. And I still remember exactly how it looked when the two of them pinned me down and like went after my armpits, and like that made me emotional too. And I miss them all the time. I'll admit, I saw that they posted, on their Instagram stories, they had a session with another submissive, and it made me jealous because it made me miss having them as my dominance. I still see them at kinky, or I still see them at sex parties sometimes. And like one time I actually skipped a sex party because I knew they were going to be there and I wasn't ready to see them. So
I will say, I still, even though I don't get to explore power exchange, I still get to explore impact play at sex parties, and I very much still love that.
I think that's been like my saving grace, to be honest.
It
like
really
that's kind of been like
there's something really cathartic about just hitting the shit out of someone with a flogger.
Well, not only that, but like
I love it.
Not only that, but like it like. I don't know. I kind of get my fix with it. Like,
I get my fix for sure. Especially, I don't know, just like I'm thinking back to like one of the sex parties where there were like these three, they were probably like early 20s, 23, 24. It was like a guy and two girls, and I was showing him like how to flog them correctly. And then there was this one guy there who we know, and he's pretty good with the flogger and the paddle.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Why am I cold on this?
Oh, him. Okay.
Yeah. Anyways,
I did think about it for a second. I'm like, okay, gotcha.
And I'm just thinking back to that memory where he was flogging me and then I was flogging them, and then we were both like, the guy and I were both teaching the three young adults how to flog, and it was super fun. So, we have a sex party coming up. Definitely excited to get some impact play in.
Obviously, I want to do the same, yeah.
Obviously, consensually.
Have I ever told the story on the pod of that
before? Because I said hit the shit out of people. Of course, I'm like asking people like before I like.
Yes, we know you're asking for consent.
Yes,
no one's doubting that.
And going up in levels before you go hard.
What was I gonna say? Did I ever tell the story on the pod of when I had like all those girls lined up on the bed? I did tell it. Okay, that forever will be one of my most favorite dominant memories. Like when I was in my dom came out like full force. And I think I was really like inspired because I'd seen like my female dom in her glory often. But I guess this episode, I would say for anyone that's like missing that kink in their life, maybe you had a dominant or maybe you had a submissive and that relationship ended and you haven't really explored it since. And like, you're wondering like, am I just giving it up? Like, am I just, not interested anymore? Should I try and go find another dom or sub? Like whatever. I can understand that like when a relationship that had a BDSM dynamic ends, like it can be a lot to handle. So like if you need to give yourself some more time to process it, to get comfortable with the idea of exploring a power exchange again with someone, like that's okay. And take whatever time you need. Honestly. Yeah. Because I think it's been like probably over 6 months since I ended my relationship with my doms. And I'm just now starting to feel like maybe I could trust someone again with a power exchange, or I'm like just now starting to like feel like, okay, I really miss this. Like, maybe I can put a little bit more energy into like finding a dominant, etc. And, like I said with my partner that I told him, we can be more intentional about it, kind of maybe helping him find more of that dominant space so we could explore that together. There's a lot to it, but yeah, take the time you need. I don't know.
I was talking to Miss Night Eyes about this. because they were also saying that they haven't gotten to explore kink a lot recently, except for shibari. So
I know, and like sometimes
we
like
were
that,
just talking about that. Like,
Yeah.
it sometimes, whatever season of life, it might not be the time, and that's okay.
and that's another thing too. Like, it'll ebb and flow. Like sometimes you'll have like a really exploratory time, and like that's great and that's exciting, and like enjoy that. And other times it's gonna be a little bit of an ebb, and maybe like you're gonna feel some time apart from that, and or maybe you'll feel disconnected from it. But, there was a little bit of time there where I felt very disconnected from it, and like it made me question. I'm like, am I not kinky? Am I not a good sub? Am I not a dom? All these things. And it's like, no, like you're fine. You're still all those things. Like your identity of being kinky is not stripped just because like you haven't been devoting a lot of time to it. Sometimes you just need to like get yourself to a space where you want to put energy into it again. Or, sometimes you just need to honor when it's a small time or even long time of kind of letting it be on the back burner as you get some other things in your life aligned or whatever that may look like.
Agreed.
So
we did want to answer some listener questions. We did have 2 come in through our email that I wanted to answer on here.
okay, let's hear it.
Also, I do want to say, we did a Q&A on Instagram the other day, and I just want to say, thank you to whoever said that they like our ads now.
Oh yeah, someone said that our ads are finally good, and I was like, thank you, because they're hilarious.
I know.
We're trying.
Exactly. He said, what did he say? He was like,
He said that he used to skip over them, or they. I don't know if it was a guy or a girl.
parentheses, sorry. And then said, but now I really enjoy them, and I actually listen to them. And I just want to say thank you so much for noticing that. Obviously, at the beginning, we were kind of new to ads. Now, as we, bring on more brand partners that we're like super excited to work with, we have navigated the space a little bit more. I feel a lot more confident in the ads we're putting out. But I just want to say big shout out to all of our sponsors. You can check out any promo codes that we have are in our link tree under DT ads. They're all there.
Not to like keep the whole ad thing going because y'all already listen to them. But
yeah,
something that I do want to say is that like we do get to pick who we work with.
Exactly.
And we definitely try to pick brands that like we think you guys will like too, because like we've tried their products and we love them, like whatever. So I hope
we would never steer you wrong.
Yeah. Or if you try it out and you don't like it, sorry, but like we liked it.
Oh my god, like Green Chef.
I cannot say good things about Green Chef.
I hope y'all love the fucking recipes.
I fell in love with Green Chef
as much as we do, because
it's not, but they can listen to the ad. Now let's move on to.
Well, no, I was just gonna say big shout out to them because Niki and I are now.
I'm obsessed.
We're now introducing flavor into our lives.
Spices. Besides salt and pepper.
Okay. Different vegetables besides squash. Okay.
And bell peppers.
So anyways, this is the first question. It's subject, praise and questions. Hi, Niki. Hi, Cami. Love the podcast. Love your openness and transparency. I am a father and an active co-parent and am proud of you both. Healing our daddy issues. Anyways,
that made me emotional.
I would be proud of my 10-year daughter if she was doing what you guys were doing when she is your age. I love that.
Sir, don't make me cry.
I know. Y'all don't, okay, to all the men who send us lovely messages like this, because we have had a few submit messages like that before, and I just want to say y'all are healing our daddy issues. So,
and y'all like sincerely touch our hearts.
So thank you, because hearing that you're proud of us, it means a lot. It means a lot to us. So he said, first, the thank you. During the episode 48-Hour Rules and Praise Kinks, Niki was answering a listener question and had real practical advice about how to keep a relationship more casual. The advice was basically don't get too consistent with a casual relationship, don't establish patterns. I wish I would have heard that advice a few months ago. Now, the question, how do you deal with mismatched emotional/relationship needs? I was recently dumped by a partner because we had slightly different expectations about commitments and obligations. Or put another way, how do you deal with wanting to spend every hour you can with someone and then them enjoying you, but having a busier life and other partners they want to see? Or maybe another way, how do you deal with someone being at the top of your list and you are not at the top of theirs? Oh, and the story during the live show about pegging that guy was absolutely mind-blowing.
Love that you love the pegging.
Thank you, listener, for submitting that question.
Okay, so how do you deal with mismatch? Okay, this is a tough one. I have been there.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Because I've definitely been in the situation where I felt like I was putting that person at the top of my list and I felt like at the bottom of theirs. And let me just tell you, there is one point where you just need to say like, hey, I don't feel like I'm being prioritized. Like, what's going on?
But that also requires like a lot of extensive conversations around a couple definitions of things. For example,
Totally agree.
what is fuck. Can you fix that, please? Shit.
God damn it. Lava!
Okay, now tilt it this way. No. Yep. More. Okay, right there. Okay. And this is gonna feel like a little bit annoying because it does take so much communication, but you guys need to establish what is your definition of prioritization for each of you. For some people, prioritization of a person, like a romantic interest or a friends with benefits, looks way different than what it looks like to someone else.
Yeah, especially if they're a Capricorn.
Secondly, like, sure.
Astrology joke. Okay.
Another one is, what is your definition, or what are each of your definitions of like emotional and romantic connections? Again, that can look entirely different for someone. So, and then also, what does commitment mean to each of you? What is the definition of commitment to each of you? Those three things can look vastly like, yeah, I think you have to remember a lot of times in relationships, everything is relative. And actually, this is something that I was discussing with a recent partner of mine. No. This is something I was discussing with a recent partner of mine, was the definition of prioritization for each of us. For example, he felt like he was prioritizing me heavily and I wasn't prioritizing him. And kind of when we discussed it a little bit more and we got down to it, like there were a lot of things that he didn't see about the way in the ways that I was prioritizing him, that like it wasn't until we had the discussion that he was like, oh, I get it now. Like I hadn't seen this before, but you know, you are prioritizing me in your own way. And then same with him. So I think if you're struggling with that, maybe sit down and have like an extensive conversation about what each of those things mean to each of you.
Yeah, because I mean, everyone's day-to-day looks vastly different.
Yeah.
I wake up, I got to let the dogs out first thing in the morning. And then, you know, I've got to feed the pets, you know, got to do the litter boxes, got to, you know, get breakfast started. I need my coffee, I need my bagel. Then I got to get work started. And then it's like, you know, if your partner, I have a partner that's expecting like a good morning call.
Or text or whatever.
And I can't deliver that because I'm like running around trying to take care of my zoo and my stomach before I do that. Like, you know, that can cause a discrepancy, but also, you know, we take the dogs on a walk 2 times a day. Like we have work, podcasts, etc. So it's like my time to give focus to, you know, texting or quality time is more geared towards like the evening. Mm-hmm. You know, so I had, you know, conversations with a partner a lot about like how to text throughout the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because I had a similar discussion as well with a partner where I was like, you know, they send me memes and GIFs all day and I'm like, look, I love it, but like I feel obligated to respond because if I don't, like it might hurt your feelings, but in reality I don't have the bandwidth for this all day.
Exactly.
So you got to talk about like what prioritization, what time management, what emotional and romantic involvement, what commitment, what all those things look like to each of you so that you can see where the discrepancies may be, or where like, you know, you might not be comprehending what that looks like to the other person. Because I think
because you might be getting 1 call a day and that's like what the person's only able to give, and like to them that might be a lot,
But to you might be
but
like,
to
what the
you,
fuck?
like,
Why
what
aren't they
the
calling
fuck?
every 30 minutes? Yeah, which is a lot. But but like you got to find where those discrepancies are. And I think I was actually telling a partner this the other day. I was like, look, we can communicate, because we were having some issues in communicating, and I was like, we can communicate all day. It's not going to get us anywhere if we don't comprehend each other. So I was like, do you understand what I'm saying when I say this? And then he was like, this is what I'm understanding. And I'm like, no, this is not what I'm trying to get across, and vice versa. So like that conversation, it literally took like 3-4 hours, but like we started off from being like super defensive and very combative to hugging, understanding each other, and then having really connective sex, so it's like, so it takes time, and like it's not the most like fun conversation to have, like, but you got to take the time to do it. And like it really sucks when you feel like you're putting in more energy than the other person is putting. So then like that's why I say, like, really understand like what are they able to give, and then from that point, are you willing to receive that? Because if this person says, hey, I can only see you once a week, I can only text you maybe sporadically throughout the week, and I can only give you this level of emotional involvement. Okay, so they lay it out. Then it's time for you to decide, are you going to accept that? And are you okay with that? Like, do you feel like you could receive that and still feel fulfilled? Or is that not enough for you? And if it's not enough for you, like, that's fine. But realize that you're going to have to take some time apart from this person to kind of like let any feelings dissipate, let any expectations dissipate, all those things. Because, like if you're prioritizing them and maybe you're starting to really like them, or, you're growing closer or whatever, and like you want more of their relationship, but they can't give you more. If they can't give you more and they spell it out, like you need to then decide, like, am I going to move forward with this and accept it? Or am I going to just cut it off, de-escalate it, or give it some time, and then we can revisit the conversation when I'm in a better emotional state?
There's your practical advice. I hope that helps, listener.
I should have been a therapist.
Yes. And thank you so much again for your sweet message.
Yes.
We hope this advice helped. He's a water boy.
Lava!
Hey, let him drink in peace. That's a good boy. Okay.
I do hope you enjoyed that, or I hope it helps. I know it can be a really hard place to be, but like my best advice there would be communicate to the point of comprehension and understand, like, is this something that like you can accept and move forward with or not? And if you need to take some time to like let feelings dissipate, that's fine. Give yourself that time.
Yes. All right, moving on to the next listener question. This will be the last one for the evening. Subject: 7-year fuck buddy.
Oh, wow.
Message.
That beats my record.
I've had the same fuck buddy for 7 years now. Sex is better than ever, and we are big on communicating sexually. We've finally gotten to a point where we are extremely comfortable with each other sexually, that we do things to each other that we wouldn't even dream of telling our actual partners. Although we've never technically cheated on either of our partners through the years, we've always made it a point to tell each other how much we miss one another sexually. I'm confused. So they're all non-monogamous. Okay. Reading along.
Are they non-monogamous?
Reading along.
Okay.
Now that I'm getting older, my emotions have me thinking about our situation differently. I feel like I might really like him, or maybe I just like fucking him. Over the years, we've become very close privately. We do not hang out outside of our bedroom, and no one knows about our 7-year hookup. Okay, so maybe they are monogamous.
Continue.
Anyway, okay. However, we are very communicative of our everyday life. He vents to me and talks to me about anything troubling him, and vice versa. My question is, should I tell him how I feel? I'm so scared to say anything because what I have been reading, the whole situation. Sorry, I read that wrong. I'm so scared to say anything. Please use more punctuation, guys.
Come on, just keep reading.
I'm so scared to say anything because what I've I have been reading the whole situation wrong and it really is just sex? In the last year or so, we've definitely gotten closer, not just sexually, but every time I've made an attempt in having us hang out, our schedules seem to clash. I did have a conversation with him about a girl he was dating over the holidays, and that if the relationship became serious with her, I didn't want to lose him from my life. I also mentioned that he and I should work on building a friendship outside of sex, and he was totally on board and hugged me after and said he felt the same way. Side note, he's met my mom a few times, and I've met most of his family multiple times, but always just as a friend. However, he does go out of his way for me to meet him. Out of his way for me to meet them, his family. I'm so confused. This the most peaceful, respectful, communicative situationship I've ever been in. I have a friend who is the only one that has seen him and I together. She tells me every time that the chemistry him and I have is ridiculous. She always, I don't know why I said that wrong.
Let me read it.
My God, finish. I'm almost done. She always says, you should see how you two are with one another. She tells me to go for it all the time. He has his own business and I work full time and she's a nursing student. We both are very supportive of each other and always check in with one another. But I just don't know if the risk is say it or say nothing. 7 years is a long time, and just in the last few months have these emotions really surfaced. What should I do? I'm a female Scorpio and he's an Aries.
A Mars ruled couple.
Okay, so no wonder y'all have passionate sex. You're both ruled by Mars.
This is very layered. Very layered. And
yeah, I'm trying to figure out.
It sounds to me like maybe they're both when they're not partnered, they have sex with each other, but when they are partnered, maybe they don't. I could be wrong. I don't know if I was understanding it wrong.
Yeah, I don't want to. She was saying they've never cheated, so that makes me think that they both have their partnership, and then outside of that, whether they have casual partnerships or small relationships,
they don't overlap necessarily. But she did say that they told each other that they missed each other, and that to me. Anyways, my advice
could be cheating to the other person. You never know.
You never know. Everyone's definition of cheating is different. We had a whole episode on that. I'm still trying to figure out my definition of cheating.
I think at the end of the day, cheating is when you're not truthful to someone or you're crossing a boundary that they've expressed.
Okay, moving on, because that's not what the question is about. To answer your question, yes, you should tell him. I think life's too short, and express your feelings as you want to. Like, don't hold anything back, because what do you have to lose? I know your answer to that question is going to be, well, him. I think if you lose him for that reason, doesn't make sense to me.
At least you're not wasting time.
Well, yeah, because these emotions are going to continue building. You guys are going to continue. You guys have said that you both express interest in like deepening the connection, maybe even if on a friendly level, whatever. But I think you need to have a more in-depth conversation. Say, hey, lately things have been kind of ramping up a little bit. I have feelings for you, etc. Like, how do you receive this, and how would you want to move forward? And understand that like you can still move forward even if he doesn't have feelings for you. It just like may take a couple more boundaries so that you can let those feelings dissipate while you guys continue your dynamic. Y'all must be going through the same things I'm going through, because I've experienced this as well.
I hope no one saw me pick that booger, but my nose was wet and then it just kind of came out. Sorry, guys.
So when you were saying that, he was possibly exploring something a little bit more serious with someone else, and you told him that you didn't want to lose him, like I actually had that conversation a couple months back with one of my friends with benefits, and I don't really remember. I think their relationship ended up not progressing, so like it didn't become an issue, but it was something I expressed to him. I said, hey, if this does progress, like guess what? I'm going to miss you. I don't know if I'm going to, I'm going to have feelings about this, etc. But yeah, my advice would be to just tell your feelings as they are. They're your feelings, but like you got to let them know. Otherwise, you won't truly know how things will progress. And I guess like I'm just not the person that can hold feelings in. So if I'm feeling something, like I'm going to tell that person. And that's my Aries rising. So
yeah, I mean, honestly, I just have the same things to say as Niki. Overall, you do want to tell him, because if you're just going to let it fester, especially as a Scorpio. I feel like you're just going to become much more infatuated because you're going to be imagining this whole scenario. And then if it doesn't go your way, when you do decide to tell him later on and you've already been building this, you know, this whole fantasy in your head, then it's just going to disappoint you even further. Might as well just honestly say your feelings now. Let him know. As Nikki said, you know, it doesn't need to change anything if he feels differently, but you at least need to say those out and say those feelings out. And, you know, then if he tells you, hey, no, I'm not feeling, you know, this, I just like, you know, where we're at, then at least you can, you know, start to, in your mind, deconstruct those feelings, figure out which direction you want to go in. And
also probably it'll be a good time to rework your boundaries.
Yes.
But say he says like, hey, I have feelings for you too. Like, let's figure out how we can move forward in a more, you know, romantic or relationship dynamic way. Then you're also going to have to rework your boundaries. So what this tells me is you guys are in a fork in the road, and whichever way you go, it's time to reestablish what you guys are to each other, redefine the relationship, and rework the boundaries that you have in place.
And don't be scared. You cannot be scared to say your feelings.
No, I stopped holding my feelings back a long time ago.
Exactly. Life's too short.
Tell them how you feel.
Exactly.
I guess for me, like, I can't let feelings fester. Otherwise, I'm sitting there like, I need to tell this person. And then I'm like,
exactly.
Guess the fuck what?
No, and I'm the person that if I start developing feelings for someone and I don't tell that person, like, that's where I came up. That's why I said the fantasy analogy, because I built this whole dream life in my head.
And a lot of people do.
Exactly.
So,
but also just like, you know, you got to give yourself a chance.
Yeah, and also, you know, give him a chance to, you know, let his feelings come out. Maybe he wants a relationship, maybe he doesn't, whatever that means.
It's been 7 years.
Yeah, 7 years, yeah.
Time to have some sort of discussion.
Something, yeah.
I think, you know, did someone message us saying they had an 11-year fuck buddy?
Someone commented on one of our, no, that was when we recorded with Cocktails, yeah.
That's what it was.
It was a guy, yeah. Because sometimes, you know, you have those people that, like, when you're single, you go have sex with them, and lo and behold, before you know it, 11 years passes. And, you know, that's what you guys have been doing for 11 years. And that's fine.
Exactly.
Nothing wrong with that.
So, tell him, Scorpio.
No, he's an Aries.
Jeez.
She's a Scorpio. He's an Aries.
I know. That's why I was saying, tell him, Scorpio.
Oh, I thought you were saying
her Scorpio.
I thought you were telling I thought you were saying like tell the Scorpio. Okay, no. Tell the Aries your feelings. Let us know how it goes. I'd actually really loved an update if you have one whenever you guys have this discussion.
Yes.
But yeah, at the end of the day, feel your feelings and let people know.
So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode.
I hope you did too.
You got to see me cry. Have I cried on the pod before?
Yes.
Really?
I'm pretty sure you teared up. I've cried. Yeah, remember when we were doing the episode about my divorce?
Oh, that's true.
We both
I was
teared
crying,
up.
You were crying.
We both teared up, you know. It happens.
But yes.
Hope it goes well. Hope you guys are doing well.
Yeah, hope everyone's doing well.
Somehow it's March.
You know what that means? Quarterly testing. Go get that STD check. Wear condoms.
I'm getting tested tomorrow.
I actually need to schedule mine.
Yeah.
What else? Yeah, I think that's it. Anyways, guys, we love y'all. Wear condoms. We hope you have a great rest of your week. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
Fun, right? Listen to your favorite twins every Thursday, wherever you listen to podcasts. Check them out on social media too. On Instagram, they're at Cami and Niki and at Double Teamed Podcast, or on TikTok at Double Teamed Podcast. Need to see the twins to be able to tell their voices apart? Listen and watch them on YouTube too.